noticed that the concept of tiny house living and off-grid living have kind of like become one, and that a lot of people who want to move into a tiny house automatically think that living off the grid is a good solution for them. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them being that a lot of people who live in a tiny house or in a place like this, for example, where there's not access to the grid. And another reason is your energy needs for a tiny house are just a fraction of what they are for a regular house, which puts a solar system like I'm about to show with you guys here in a price point that makes a lot of sense. And there's various other reasons too that people want to go off grid for you know, the environment and things like that. But what I have here is a solution by a company called Inergy, and it's called the Kodiak. So full disclaimer, Inergy actually sent me this, which was really kind of them. Thank you guys. And but they're not paying me to like for this or anything. They just gave me this to review for you guys. So I'm gonna give an honest review. And I've been using it now for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. So I have a good idea of how it works or whatnot. So the whole idea of this complete package was, as you can see, it's very light. It weighs 20 pounds. And the idea is that it's all in one. There's no wiring necessary. It has an inverter built in, charge controller, full readout, 30 amp plug, 6 110 outlets, and it's actually expandable too, which I'm gonna do a two-part, this will be a two-part video series, and in part 2 I'll show the expansion, but in part 1 I'll just give you the details of this particular unit. So the first thing I want to do is give a quick comparison of the Kodiak's closest competitor, which a lot of people in tiny houses use, is the Yeti, and they have a new generation called the 1250, and it's lithium. So the difference with this is it has a little bit less energy storage in the battery itself, but it weighs, let's see, less than half. I think the Yeti 1250 weighs 50 pounds, this weighs 20. And what's really cool about this one is that you can expand, you can daisy chain batteries. As many as you want. Actually, the one limitation of this is that it can only accept 600 watts, which is still a lot of energy at once. So your limitation will be the amount of daylight you get depending on where you live, cloudy days, things like that. And also the input, the 600 watts. So to quickly go over everything, and I thought I'd mention real quick while I'm thinking about it, if you live in a climate that's cold and you're not really reliant on air conditioning and you use propane or wood for your heating in the winter, this thing will most definitely, almost for sure, run everything, especially if you have like LED lights and your fridge is like at least somewhat energy efficient. This thing will set it up. But as you can see, I accidentally just pressed the button. But that turns it on, and you can hear a fan going, which runs pretty much all the time. But this gives you your readout. It shows you how many watts you're using right now. Let's see if I can bring it closer, which is 9 watts. And it shows the voltage in the top right. And then it kind of runs through other readouts or whatnot. So we'll go through all the ports. This is a 30 amp, which is really cool. You can, a lot of tiny houses like this one, for example, you can plug the 30 amp plug in and the whole house is just turned on. And then you have the 6 110 outlets, like I mentioned before. You've got DC output, USB. I don't know how many amps those are. I know they're fast charging. And then again, like I said, you have right here, you can daisy chain as many batteries as you want. And this right here is the fast charge, which I'll show you the cables here. Actually, I'll show you the cables now. So there's 4 ways you can charge the Kodiak up by Inergy. And the first is if you're just driving on the road, you can literally throw this in your car because it's so lightweight and charge it up via your cigarette lighter or any other DC inlet or whatever. But you can put it here and connect it. So that's one way. Another way is if you're even like if you go to the coffee shop, you can take this thing with you, which is crazy. Because this thing has 1.1 kilowatts of energy, which is pretty sizable if anyone who knows anything about like power consumption or whatnot. And the next way you can charge it, like I said, is through a standard 110 outlet. So you would plug it in here, and then you would plug it in. And by far the fastest way would be through solar, or you can actually even use wind, but you can only use one at a time. So solar or wind, and this will charge it up the fastest. I think this was completely empty, and you have the 600 watts. It takes less than 2 hours, which makes sense because it's 1.1 kilowatt. Anyways, so yeah, you can do wind, or you can even do water as long as it has a standard MC4 connector. And another option too, I forgot to mention, is that if you have a generator and you have quite a few cloudy days, you could plug this into the generator or into a charge controller from the generator or whatnot, and that'd be another way to charge it as well. So now I'll show you a real-world in-use application of the Kodiak. Okay, so in the future, this will probably sit underneath the kitchen sink along with the extra batteries, which will be part 2. But for now, also if you haven't seen the previous videos, this is the water collection system we built. It holds 825 gallons. And for all the haters who said there's no way to work, we pretty much staying topped off, and we've been using lots of water out here, and there hasn't been a whole lot of rain, so this is working out pretty well. So anyways, this is the 30 amp cable that runs from the house. So you can literally just plug this in, and then when you turn the Kodiak on, you'll see a readout, and this actually shows your power display. So when you get down to red, you're in trouble. So now I'll take you inside the house and show you everything that's running. Another great thing that I love about the Kodiak is that it's really, really good for people who are like van dwellers, which kind of fall into the whole tiny house scene, and RV dwellers and things like that. But certainly for tiny houses, especially people who have very efficient homes and they figured out ways to keep their power consumption really, really low, like off-grid appliances, for example, a fridge, and you also supplement it with propane, like your propane cooktop. Turn on the lights and the fan. More lights, more lights. The fridge is running, which that's about to actually get swapped out. And also the mini split unit is running. So if you look at the readout, you can see that right now 630 some watts are actually being taken out of the battery. And considering this is a 1.1 kilowatt unit, it means in about less than 2 hours the battery would be drained. But one thing you need to keep in mind is that we're using a very power hungry refrigerator, and also the AC unit just kicked on. So once it tapers off, or if you keep it up cool, the wattage will go way down. Plus you got to think, like in the part 2 of the video, we're going to have more batteries tacked onto this. That'll be interesting to show you guys as well. So what I really love about the Kodiak is that it's super compact. So if you actually want to take this with you and throw it in your car while you're driving to work, you could add power if that's your type of situation, or there's lots and lots of ways to charge it up. So I was even speaking with the people who sent this to me, and they were telling me that there's examples of people using water energy to charge this up, which is really cool. So another thing that I really like about it, there's no guesswork. You literally just plug it in and start using it. So if you watched any of the other videos, this is my father's tiny house, and we're trying to get everything in place to where we can rely solely on this as a off-grid solution. So later this week, the solar panels and the battery banks that I have purchased will be here, and I'm going to build like a little house and a setup and everything, an array for the panels and a way to house these batteries. So definitely subscribe and make sure you don't miss that. I think that'll be really cool. And I'd like to thank Kodiak. I have a link in the description if you want to check it out on their website. And I'd also like to thank you for watching. So we'll see you in the next video.